Hello, Harvest Chapel friends. My name is Jennifer Cambria, and I have been a member of Harvest Chapel for the past year and a half. Today I would like to share Acts 20, verses 32 through 35 with you. And now I commend you to God and to the word of His grace, which is able to build you up and to give you the inheritance among all those who are sanctified. I coveted no one's silver or gold apparel. You yourselves know that these hands ministered to my necessities and to those who were with me. In all things, I have shown you that by working hard in this way, we must help the weak and remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how He Himself said, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." After reading these verses, I thought about the phrase, "It is more blessed to give than to receive," and something that came to mind was a story I would like to share with you all about my son Rylan, our grandmother, our duty to serve others, and our relationship with Jesus. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Rylan and I were unable to engage in home visits with my grandmother. This took a toll on our hearts. We came up with a lot of creative ways to express to her that she was not alone and that we were missing her. We dropped off baked goods, flowers, and groceries, but none of these gifts could even begin to compare to an idea that Rylan came up with. Rylan expressed to me that he wanted to do more than give his great-grandma gifts. Rylan wanted to show her how much he loved and missed her. Rylan came up with the idea to make signs with messages of love and hope, and to go to Grandma's house and stand in her yard and window visit. So that's what we did. We called our neighbors over to help, and we painted beautiful signs to present to our grandma. Our messages included trust in God, honk for happiness, air hug, have faith, and we are in this together. We showed up to Grandma's house with our signs, we danced, we smiled, and the children giggled with excitement at all the beeps the passing cars gave us. Through God's magic, we experienced firsthand the power of giving. My grandmother stood in her window with a smile on her face and tears in her eyes, and it was in that moment that something bigger happened. Rylan was so touched by my grandmother's expression of gratitude that he asked me if we could go to the pier in Dunkirk and share our signs with the community. I remember him saying, "Mom, if our signs made Grandma that happy, then don't you think Jesus would want us to make other people happy too?" When we were at the pier, a couple walked by, and they asked if they could take our picture. A few days later, our picture made it into the Dunkirk Observer, and that's when our project Signs of Love and Hope began. After this experience, Rylan expressed to me how good he felt by sharing his signs, letting people know that they were not alone in this pandemic, that they were loved, and that with faith and hope, better days would come. Sharing our experience and the exposure that we received from being in the newspaper put us on a path to connect with other members of Harvest Chapel and people within our community. We traveled with our signs to several long-term living facilities in our area, and residents placed their hands on the windows. They smiled and they cried, and we cried too. A few months later, we came together again, and the children dressed up in their costumes for Halloween, and they shared their signs once more. Through this experience of giving, we were blessed with the ability to embrace others in this difficult time during the pandemic that we were all facing. We gifted them a sign of hope. We were blessed with relationships we may never have had the chance to make had we not taken the time to show our love and to give back to our community. We did not give money or material items. Instead, we gave what we could: love, faith, hope, a message from God, smiles, and air hugs. We embraced our community in a time of need. Giving is an exciting part of being a believer. The heart of a giver is to bless more than to receive. The motive of a giver is to uplift others and see the joy of God's provision work to His glory. The discipline of a giver causes spiritual growth. As Pastor Jim would say, how about you, friends? In the spirit of Christmas season, during the COVID-19 pandemic that we are all facing, how can you look at your resources that God has given you and use them to bless others? What do you have to give? God has given us all we need for life and godliness. He has provided us with resources to bless others with. Can you give of your time and send a message of love and hope? I ask you today to pray over Act 20 and remember, it is more blessed to give than to receive.